Hello, Final Fantasy VII fans. Ezra here again, and welcome back to another Final Fantasy VII videos. And today's video, I want to talk about some theory about Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. But I want to first I want to talk about some of my thoughts about the Ever Crisis Season 2. Just a little bit of that, and I will talk about this Sephiroth theory that's probably going to happen in Part 3 because I think it's a cool idea. And this one is actually based on Nico Beat theory, or I guess Maximilian Du's theory, because these two are doing their own ending discussion, which is like 6 days ago, which is pretty recent. I recommend you guys to check it out if you guys are kind of curious to see what Max has to say about part 3. And they mentioned this theory along in the videos, so I thought I might as well mention it on this video because I think it's very interesting, because it related to the Sephiroth backstory and Ever Crisis, how we all talked before how Sephiroth was always been the victim in Final Fantasy VII, that Jenova and Professor Hojo are like the true bad guys, I guess you could say that, like Sephiroth at the end of the day, even though that he's like the big bad guy that we all remember, he's not always been the villain. He actually is a victim of Hojo's experiment and obviously being manipulated by Jenova, as we seen in the Ever Crisis video, or mobile game. And I think they in the theory video, Max and Nico basically discussing the fact that about Ever Crisis, that how they could go with season 2. And I actually forgot to mention this in the last Ever Crisis video, because I was like, okay, well, I don't think Angel and Genesis is gonna play a big part of the Ever Crisis storyline, because I always thought that Angel and Genesis are weirdos, and obviously they're not gonna be the friends that Sephiroth are looking, and I think that idea might still stand in my opinion, because I think Glenn, Matt, and Lucia are Sephiroth's true friends. However, there is an idea that they could fix Angel's backstory and Genesis' backstory, because I think from the Ever Crisis cutscenes we know that Sephiroth, Angel, and Genesis are close. This is their own. This is Sephiroth's, I guess you could say, own group in a way, like own fucked up group, because he was actually team up with a bunch of weirdos, but there is a chance that they might also give some depth to Angel's character, because like, Angel is really weird if you play Crisis Core. He's actually a really weird character, which, to be fair, I think most character in Crisis Core are really weird except for Zack, Aerith, Cloud, and I guess Sephiroth. But besides those character, which is from the OG Final Fantasy VII, the new character really is really weird. And I feel like that's why I think there is a chance that they could fix that for Angel's and Genesis backstory. They might give us an idea on why Genesis was so into the Loveless poem. I know it's poetic and stuff like that, but again, I know that people don't really like Genesis. Some people love them because how weird Genesis was, but for me personally, when I first watched him in the Crisis Core playthrough, I was like, damn, this guy is so annoying. Like, I want Genesis to just shut the fuck up, because like he's speaking nothing and he speaks a lot, man, and it's really weird in my opinion. So, but again, in Ever Crisis Season 2, there is a chance that they could fix the backstory for these two characters. Again, I have no idea how they're gonna do the backstory, but it is pretty interesting to think about, at least. But anyway, going on to the main point of this video, I'm sorry, it's been 4 minutes in, but I'm gonna go in anyway. It was mentioned by Nico and Maximilian Dube when they do the ending theory. I think Nico specifically mentioned that, oh, what if Sephiroth kills Jenova? And to me, that's like an interesting idea, and I think they are going to do that, to be honest, because again, based on the Ever Crisis Sephiroth's origin story, again, we also learned that Sephiroth are the victim in this entire situation, until eventually he becomes the big bad guy, So I think in part 3, if they're going to progress Sephiroth backstory, because I think from the Ever Crisis ending, from season 1 ending for the first soldier, it was pretty clear that the Sephiroth in the Age of Creation knows everything. This is the Sephiroth that basically transcends time and space. And then he is reminiscing the event that happened in Rhapsodus, right? And it's like, yeah, I think Sephiroth are going to try to find a way to basically achieve his own goal. And I think there is also a theory back in the original Final Fantasy VII that Sephiroth is actually being manipulated by Jenova this entire time, and I think that theory was actually much more truer now, in my opinion, because of the Ever Crisis Season 2 trailer. We see Jenova appearing as Hojo in Sephiroth's mind. Essentially Sephiroth has a mental breakdown just like Cloud did. And that to me was really interesting because I feel like Jenova, the idea that Jenova was actually manipulating Sephiroth the entire time in the OG FF7, that makes sense in my opinion. I know some people disagree with that because I personally was more in line with Sephiroth and Jenova are working together. They are the same unit. But they could absolutely introduce this plot point in part 3 where it was confirmed, I guess you could say that, where, oh, like the Sephiroth from the original Final Fantasy VII are actually manipulated by Jenova. So Jenova was actually in control the entire time. So Jenova just used Sephiroth as her puppet. Like, okay, that makes sense, to be honest. And it seems like from the Ever Crisis Season 2 trailer, it seems like that's where they are alluding what Sephiroth's storyline are going to be. And in part 3, it makes much more sense to me if Sephiroth actually, again, has his own goal and no longer being manipulated by Jenova, by Hojo. He actually stand on his own. It makes sense if Sephiroth actually kills Jenova himself in part 3, and I guess not by himself, but he could team up with Cloud and Zack, going back to the conversation in Final Fantasy VII Remake where he asked Cloud to, let us defy destiny together. He asking Cloud to, let's team up with me. Like, imagine how cool it would have been if in part 3 there is a scene where Cloud and Zack are like, teaming up to defeat the true form of Jenova, but because Jenova was so powerful, they both got, quote unquote defeated. And then Sephiroth just like swoop in, and then he decided to let's team up, let's team up against Sephiroth. So you control Cloud, Zack, and Sephiroth in part 3, because again, you only control Sephiroth in the Nibelheim flashback, which is what happened in the OG FF7 and of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which again, it was in line. But imagine if that was actually happening, the players could actually play as Sephiroth again in part 3. And of course, bring up the previous theory that I had before, where what if part 3 opens with Sephiroth's younger days, his origin essentially. Like, again, the player could also play as Sephiroth. That would be really cool. And then they play as Sephiroth on the present day where he actually tried to defeat Jenova. I think, to me, that idea sounds so cool, and I hope they do that. And of course, besides Jenova, we also have to bring back Professor Hojo, because I said in the Ever Crisis video, I want Hojo to die a slow and painful death. I still stand by that, and in my opinion, because in the OG FF7, I think Professor Hojo transformed into like a Jenova monster, or like just a monster in general, and then the party member has to defeat him like that. I don't really want them to just like defeat the monster Hojo and then that's it. Like, I want the death to be actually prolonged, and there's actually much more dramatic scenes, because I really want that. And of course, these scenes needs to be with Sephiroth. I think, in my opinion, I think Sephiroth should be the guy who delivers the final blow to Hojo, because granted, Hojo basically tortures everybody in the fucking game. He's actually the big bad in the game because he doesn't care for anybody. He only cares for himself and the research. And there is a potential that Hojo might be working with Jenova. That is certainly a possibility because he seems so calm with everything. Like, maybe he thinks that, oh, I'm working with this alien being that is super powerful named Jenova, so I should be fine. No one can defeat me in a way. And I think that's gonna, bite him in the ass later on in the game, and then it was revealed that Jenova doesn't really care for Hojo, But that's my theory, I don't think they really confirmed that. I think the assumption that we had about Professor Hojo is that he's just insane. He's just a psychopathic guy that doesn't really care for anybody. But there is also a theory that maybe he's working with Jenova, So I think that would be really cool to see if that was true in part 3. And like I said before, Sephiroth should be the one who delivers the fatal blow to Hojo, because I think that would make sense to me, because Hojo created Sephiroth and obviously using Sephiroth for his own gain. So I think it makes sense if Sephiroth should be the one who delivers the final blow for Hojo. And again, Sephiroth could also team up with Cloud and the rest of the party member. That would be really cool. That would be the two scenes where you actually can root for Sephiroth in part 3. I don't think they should turn Sephiroth entirely into a good guy. I don't want that. However, he's gonna be like the Thanos in Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. I think that's what they are going to do. That I think Sephiroth might have like a goal that makes sense. However, he's going to kill everybody in the process in order to achieve this goal. Like that's my theory for what Sephiroth end game was. And I feel like these two ideas, if Sephiroth was able to defeat Jenova himself, and of course killing Hojo himself at the same time, I think that would be a really cool Sephiroth story arc, because like I said, the developer said that this is not just the Klaus and the rest of the party members' journey, but it's also the villain's journey, which is Sephiroth's journey as well. So I think it makes sense to me in part 3 if Jenova and Hojo was actually killed by Sephiroth himself, and I think that's a good arc for Sephiroth because now he actually stands on its own and nobody's going to manipulate him anymore and nobody's going to control him anymore. And I think this is like a really good story arc for Sephiroth, well, quote unquote good, because like, again, I think Sephiroth is going to destroy the world at the same time, because in order to achieve his own end game, whatever that was. But still, I personally love this theory and I hope they do that in part 3. I think that would be really cool, not only that you can actually play as Sephiroth again. That's a cool idea, right? Because Sephiroth is a cool bad guy, and I think he becomes like the kind of bad guy that you can actually sympathize with. And to me, that makes Sephiroth actually much more interesting than before, because I think if they don't do this like backstory for Sephiroth, I personally was fine by it, because I think it's okay. I don't think Sephiroth needs a backstory, but I think the backstory they were showing in Ever Crisis was actually being good this entire time. I guess we'll wait and see for season 2. That's gonna be exciting. And I think they completely nailed the backstory. He becomes like the bad guy that you could actually understand why he become like this, and I think that's just elevates a Sephiroth as a villain in my opinion. He's no longer like a big bad guy just for the sake of being bad, and even though I don't have any problem with that, but now since we have the story and the background for Sephiroth and then potentially what's going to happen in part 3, that's gonna be really exciting for Sephiroth's character. And again, I cannot believe that I'm actually excited for Sephiroth's story. Like I said before, I always thought that, well, the Cloud and the rest of the party members' storyline was much more exciting to discuss, obviously because they are the main character. But I cannot believe that I'm actually kind of rooting for Sephiroth, in a way, and potentially for him to kill Jenova and Hojo himself. That would be really cool, in my opinion. So, yeah, I guess let me know, guys, in the comment section below, like what do you guys think about this theory right here, if how do you guys feel if Sephiroth actually team up with Cloud and the gang in order to defeat Jenova and Hojo? Like in my opinion, that would be really cool for his character arc, but again, that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about this? Are you guys okay with it, or are you guys disliking it? You guys can tell me your reason in the comment section below, and I guess expect one more Final Fantasy 7 videos, especially again another theory about part 3, which I think I want to talk about how part 3 could end. I don't think part 3 is going to end exactly like the original game end. I think we're going to see a brand new ending. At least that's in my opinion. So I think it's gonna be an interesting topic to discuss in the future videos. But yeah, for now, that's gonna be the video for today, guys. Again, just a little bit of an update for my thoughts for Ever Crisis Season 2 for Sephiroth's storyline, because I think, again, maybe they're gonna give Angel and Genesis a good backstory. Do you guys think that could happen, or do you guys think it's impossible to make Genesis and Angel a good character? Like, do you guys think it's impossible? Let me know all that in the comment section below. Alongside with this theory that Sephiroth could kill Jenova and Hojo by teaming up with Cloud. Like, do you guys think that would happen in part 3? Let me know all that in the comment section below. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you guys leave a like, comment, subscribe, share the videos, the usual stuff. Stay tuned for one more Final Fantasy 7 videos, like I said before. And yeah, I cannot wait for part 3, guys. It's gonna be 3 years away, but it's pretty exciting to discuss about that. So before I go, I want to say thank you for everybody who watched the Ever Crisis video. I love that a lot because I think it's actually unexpected for me that people actually watched that video. A lot of people, and it's like, yeah, thank you so much for that, guys, who watched the video. Stay tuned for more videos in the future, guys. And again, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure guys slash that subscribe button and like button, guys, and share the videos, the usual stuff. And again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.